The neuron is the basic cell of the nervous system, and the neuron is very important because the neurons are what send and receive messages all throughout your body, all throughout all the different parts of your nervous system. So you'll want to know what a neuron is, but you'll also want to be familiar with its most important parts. This will be really helpful not in terms of just understanding what these structures are, but also understanding how a neural message travels throughout the neuron. So the first part we'll talk about are the dendrites. I actually think of dendrites as little fingers. They look like little finger-like branches. And that's the part of the neuron that receives messages from other neurons. The soma is the cell body of the neuron. It's kind of like the nucleus, if you will. It maintains all of that cell's vital functions. You also have the axon, which is a long tube-like extension that branches off from the soma, and it will connect to and send messages to other neurons. So I always do a demonstration with people where I have them hold hands and think of themselves as neurons, and they're passing a message on to the neuron or the person beside them. So if you are holding hands with someone else, let's say you're holding hands with two people, you're in the middle, and someone is sending you a message, they squeeze your hand. Well, what part of your body is going to receive that first? Well, that would be your fingers. So again, your fingers are the dendrites. That's the part that receives the message. The part of your body that maintains your life functions is your torso, and you can think of that as your soma. Then you can think about your axon, which would be your other arm, which would be the long tube-like extension. And again, that's the part that passes the message to the next neuron. So if you have a line of people holding hands, and once you feel a squeeze from the neuron beside you, you pass that squeeze forward, you can think about that as a neural message, and it'll help you understand the parts of the neuron. Dendrites are the finger-like part, receives the message. Soma is the cell body, maintains the life functions. And the axon is the long tube-like part that will pass that message on to the next neuron. Before we leave the structures of the neuron, I want to take a minute and talk about a very important part called the myelin sheath. Myelin is a very important fatty substance that is composed by glial cells. Now, sometimes you hear people say, well, we only use 10% of our brains. Remember, be a critical thinker. Ask where they got that, how they know that's true, because it's actually not true. 10% of your brain are neurons, but the other 90% are very important, and those are glial cells. They produce this myelin, and they provide support for the neurons, they insulate them, and probably most importantly, they speed up that neural impulse. When you touch something that is hot or sharp, your body responds before you even feel the pain, and that is because of how efficient, how speedy your nervous system is. The myelin is what makes it so efficient. The myelin coats the axons of the neurons, and that's what speeds up that neural impulse, makes it amazingly fast. Certain drugs, certain diseases like multiple sclerosis can damage that myelin, and that's what can slow down people's reactivity, sometimes to the point of paralysis. So make sure you know those key parts of the neuron, and also make sure you understand how that neural message travels through those parts.